So it's almost time. A very exciting day is coming for the millions of you guys that are on Social Security, SSI, and SDI. It's because the retirees and everybody that's a senior will be receiving stimulus checks sooner than we expected. Now the wait for Social Security, more than 65 million beneficiaries, is nearly over. In just 10 days, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics will release key inflation data, and it serves as the final piece to calculate the Social Security COLA for next year. So more stimulus payments, more increase in benefits, and more help for those that need the money. So since polls and studies have shown how vital Social Security income is to the financial well-being of most retirees, knowing how much payouts are going to rise in 2023 is very important. Now, since 1975, the CPIW has been the inflationary tool that is used to determine the program's COLA. There is an index with more than half a dozen major spending categories. In 2023, for example, all program recipients will receive the largest increase to Social Security benefits on record. Historically high inflation is also expected to push the cost of living adjustment to 8.7%. According to an estimate from the Senior Citizens League, an 8.7% COLA would mark the largest year-over-year percentage increase in 41 years. If the estimate is correct, the average retired worker is looking at around $150 increase to their Social Security check. Meanwhile, disabled workers and survivor payouts are estimated to rise by $120 and $116 a month. Now, an analysis found by that purchasing power of a Social Security dollar has declined by an appalling 40% since 2000. The CPIW simply hasn't done a good job for accounting of the inflation that matters to seniors. And since the CPIW tracks the spending habits of urban wage earners and clerical workers, key expenditures like medical care and shelter are also being underweight. Although Social Security's COLA has led to a number of disappointments throughout the years, the upcoming raise for 2023 actually comes with a bit of silver lining. Last week, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services released the 2023 premiums, deductibles, and coinsurance amounts for Medicare Part A and Part B and Part D programs. Since most of Social Security's retired workers are enrolled in Medicare, they're used to having a Part B premium automatically deducted from their monthly retired worker benefit. Officials have said that the Medicare Part B premiums will fall roughly 3% to around $164 in 2020. The annual deductible for Part B beneficiaries will also decline by $7 from $233 in 2022 to $226. In other words, the silver lining for tens of millions of Americans has aged beneficiaries is that they might actually get to keep a bit more this year, rather than losing it all to Part B premium increases and inflation. Now, another deadline is coming up. Maine residents have until the end of the month to apply for some relief checks, which are worth around $900. The relief checks meant to help curb the economic hardship induced by the crisis and inflation are from the state's budget surplus. The website of the governor of Maine estimates that around 900,000 citizens will receive checks. So that's good news.
Proven to be one way to help close the racial wealth gap. Too many people have faced barriers to getting a home loan because of their lack of traditional credit information. In fact, 45 million people don't have enough credit history to be accurately scored, and many of them are our family, our friends, and our neighbors. That is why I'm very interested in Bank of America's announcement last month of a new special purpose credit program mortgage product, which requires no minimum credit score and relies on factors such as rent, utility bills, phone bills, and auto insurance payments to underwrite mortgage loans. Mr. Moynihan, do you expect that this product will help more underserved borrowers, including borrowers of color, qualify for a home mortgage? And if so, how do you plan to track those results?
We expect it to expand mortgages to, as you said, and we will track the results because we'll be reporting on the success of that program along with our $15 billion home ownership programs. This is another version of that. So yes, we expect it to help.
So the question was, how do you plan to track the results? Not if you plan to track them. But how?
How? If every person that comes in, it's a special program. It is designated separately so that you can see the application come through the program. The person's getting a HUD counselor, a down payment assistance. It's a special program, so you track the results against, you track it coming through. It's not a regular way program that's available everywhere.
So can you tell us more about how this program will work in practice? For example, how will borrowers know that they can use rent and other data that's not typically on their credit report to help them qualify for this new mortgage product?
It's available at all our financial systems. You can find the information in it in all our online systems, which 97% of low and moderate income households use. And you can find it in our specialized mortgage product, our Better Money Habits, and things like that. So it's available in all our operating channels so everybody can see it.
And this is something that people coming in to look for a mortgage product are told is available?
I was at the branch up the street here, and the day after we announced it, we had people coming in already here in Washington, D.C., so I'm sure that we'll have a lot of people come into the branches and ask about the program.
And Mr. Moynihan, I think this is a great thing, so I want to hear more about it. And so if you could tell me more about why you decided to make this pilot program available in certain cities, and if you expect to expand to other cities as well as expanding this product offering in the future.
If the program's successful and it serves the customer the way we hope it does, yes, we'll be able to bring it to other cities. It's an extension of work we've been doing for many, many, many years. The unique aspect of this is the 1974 enabling these types of programs through to now. This has a little bit different qualification mechanisms to it, so we expect it to be
poised to seize the future. Everybody, the press always asks me, why am I so optimistic with the way things are? Take a look at all these young folks. They're the best educated, they're the most generous, they're the people who have done the most, they're ready to volunteer, and they're the least prejudiced folks in the world. It's a new generation, and it's an underpinning. It gives me an enormous sense of, and I mean this sincerely, an enormous sense of optimism. We have everything we need right here in the Western Hemisphere, not only to point ourselves toward a future that is more...
Hundreds of thousands of people that currently meet eligibility requirements are going to receive an extra $750 check in their pockets. Lawmakers have said these checks will help many low and middle income households, and top Democrats are worried about how they will address the rising gas prices. Be sure to watch to the end of the video to find out if you're eligible for the fourth stimulus check, everybody. You definitely don't want to miss out on this video. Now, Minnesota's frontline workers will get a bonus check under a $500 million deal that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz signed into new law. The legislators hammered out the measure after initially disagreeing on how much to spend and who should get the money. The deal, which also includes about $3 billion to refill the state's unemployment insurance trust fund and around $200 million for managing the crisis, can end up being one of the most substantial compromises in the divided legislature reaches this year. The governor told reporters, at this point in time, whether you be a frontline worker or whether you're a small business, we want things to be prioritized and we want things to be taken care of, agreed upon, and signed into law. Now, how many people will qualify for the hero pay and how much they will get has yet to be determined, but state officials have estimated that around 700,000 workers will get around $750 each, but that could change depending on who applies, and it's ultimately deemed eligible. While it's possible to estimate the number of jobs in each sector the legislature included in the definition of frontline worker, from healthcare to public transit, it's hard to know how many of those workers meet other criteria, including being required to work in person. Now, a total of $500 million is estimated to be sent out to around 667,000 frontline workers. That amounts to $750 for each eligible worker, though the number could change depending on how many people apply. Over the last few months, folks planning out their vacations have been in for a rude awakening over the price of gas. The national average for a gallon of regular gas topped $4.70 for the first time ever this week. On top of historic inflation, this is the environment the Democrats face 5 months from Election Day. The problem for Democrats is that at this point of year, or last year, the average price of regular gas was a little over $3 a gallon. That means gas prices are up more than 55% from 12 months ago. No other midterm cycle features a rate of increase anywhere close to that 5 months before the election. The latest polls show that 85% of Americans view the economy as either in fair or poor shape. The only midterm since 1994, when so many Americans thought the economy was just fair or poor, was 2010. In California, the Burbank Congressman Adam Schiff is calling for suspension of the federal gas tax, which would save you about 18 cents a gallon. He said for consumers struggling to get by, every bit matters, and it's also important to take action against oil companies that are making record profits right now. Gas prices have kept setting records, with the average price of regular gas well above $6 in Los Angeles and Orange County. Schiff introduced a bill that would put the federal gas tax on hold to the end of next year to make up for the loss in funding to the Highway Trust Fund. The bill calls for a 50% tax on oil company profits, which have soared this year. A Republican National Committee spokesperson responded with a statement accusing California Democrats of taking too long to seek relief for drivers. What are your thoughts on this, folk? Tell me in the comments down below. Do you think that President Biden is doing all that it takes to send the stimulus check, or do you think he needs to do a better job on this?
Testimony. Let me begin the questioning with a question from Ms. Altman. As you know, I've just introduced legislation to expand Social Security benefits by $200 a month and to fully fund Social Security for the next 75 years by demanding that Americans who make more than $250,000 a year pay their fair share of taxes. As an example of the absurdity of the current situation, just as an example, last year the CEO of Apple made over $700 million in total compensation. He pays the same amount of money into Social Security as someone who makes $147,000 a year.